Rachel Eddy is a 38-year-old Queensland mum who runs her own business from home. Her husband Tim is an interstate truck driver and, like many Australians, Rachel wondered how she could help drought-affected communities in Queensland's Granite Belt. What you're about to hear will really inspire you. Rachel Eddy, good evening and welcome to the front page.
Hi Jane, how are you going? Thank you for having me.
Look, thank you for joining us tonight, for making the trip into the studios. I know you're busy. Let's cut to the chase, Rachel. On the 7th of September, what did you do after hearing about the plight of farmers just 2.5 hours from Brisbane's CBD?
Well, we heard about what was happening, like you said, just 2.5 hours away, and I made a phone call to a good friend of mine and asked if she had a trailer available and if I could get a truck, if we could use it, because, you know, the people in Stanthorpe, the people in the Granite Belt are suffering, and I heard that people haven't got water down there. They were only, you know, months away from day zero, whereas now it's only days away. And so we shot into action, and myself and a number of other people got on board and helped us, and we took 63,000 litres on 3 semis out to Granite Belt and delivered it there to them, clean drinking water. We had C&K Transport on board, we had some people donate pods, we had people donating water, fuel was supplied. We had a number of people on board to help us, you know, pull that off and get that out of there, and that was just in 12 days.
Right, 63,000 litres of water. Now, explain to the rest of Australia where the Granite Belt is in Queensland. It's one of the areas that's had such a terrible run with this drought. It's been in drought for a long, long time. We heard about the fires there. Just explain where it is from Brisbane. So
from Brisbane, it's about 2.5 hour drive inland, and the Granite Belt covers from Dalveen down to Warringara, just prior to the border there at Tenterfield, and there's a lot of small towns in amongst there as well. Stanthorpe, of course, is in the middle, Applethorpe, and a number of other towns that are in there. So it's just, it's not far from Brisbane CBD. And to hear that they're going through drought.
Stanthorpe, Applethorpe, they're names that are familiar to many Australians now because those bushfires went through there. When did you arrive there with your water?
So it was actually really, really horrible 24, 48 hours, really. Friday we were getting reports that the fires had flared up there, and there was a little bit of, we didn't know whether or not we were going to be able to go, to be honest, because the fires were so widespread and in many different places. But we prepared and loaded our trucks up, and on Saturday morning we were due to leave at around about 10 o'clock. And I had to wait for clearance to make sure. I contacted a few people on the ground there to make sure that we'd get through, because they'd had horrific fires go through there. A lot of people were affected by them. So it just heightened what we had to do even more so by getting these trucks out there. I think it gave us an extra push that they're going to need this water even more so. So we packed our trucks up. We got the clear to go through. We could get directly through to where we went. We dropped off at Granite Belt Fruit Freighters, and they are just north of Stanthorpe itself. So we got the clearance to drop off there, and off we went. We packed up our 3 trucks, our car and our ute and our trailer, and off we went, and we delivered 63,000 litres, which comprised of 59 IBCs, and the rest was palleted water that was donated by many people in the community that came forth.
What's an IBC, Rachel?
An IBC is a bulk container, so it's a 1,000-litre bulk container that's portable, so you can take it anywhere, you put it on the back of a ute. So very accessible to a lot of the farmers out there that have the capacity to be able to put it weighs a tonne once it's full, so you've got to be able to make sure that you've got the right equipment. So we took them out there and delivered them, dropped them off there, and a couple of days later we started planning our our next one.
Okay, we'll get to the next one in just a moment. There's been a lot of media coverage. My colleague Alan Jones on Macquarie Media and here at Sky News, along with Peter Credlin, Chris Smith, lots of others have done a lot on the drought. I think the interview with the farmer Scott Pribino is what really sort of set people back, realising just the devastation. And Alan is absolutely right when he talks about breeding stock and people losing their breeding stock. What did you find when you got there?
So we did this one. That trip that we did that we're talking about now was quite quick. They didn't want us to stick around too much because it was a fire zone. So we had to make sure that, of course, everyone's safety was concerned. So we did drop that one, that load off, and we headed back to Brisbane. We returned a couple of weeks later with a tanker load of water, and we went to 4 properties, and it was. That hit home more than anything that I've ever seen. My grandfather's a shearer. He was a shearer. He passed away, unfortunately. And we went to these properties. We took a 20,000 litre tanker with us. We took a few stock supplies as well, and some stock water, and some flowers along to cheer the people up, because we knew that they'd been, they've just gone through fires. They've had fire ravished through their properties. So we went to a couple of properties there at Delvine and visited 4 properties and dropped off 5,000 litres to each of those properties. Now, one of the proproperties we went to, I actually stood in the middle of the dam, and it was just horrible to see that.
We're putting these photographs up of what you saw there. And tell us about the farmer who's also a shearer who ran sheep there.
The gentleman he's a shearer, was a shearer. Unfortunately, he's destocked, completely destocked, because there is nothing on the land anymore. There was no water, and he's actually vacated the property because he had no water on the land at all. So he's gone in to stay in town where he can access some water, and he's an older gentleman as well, and he lives in a shearing shed there, but he had to leave. So we left 5,000 litres there. His sister so kindly showed us around, and it was gorgeous. It was just such a beautiful property in regards to it's our history. The history that was in that place, that it was a fully working, fully functional shearing shed. And what hit me, I think, is when you're standing there to go that if this drought, or if there isn't any assistance, our history is going to be gone. And that's not something I or any other Australian would want to see, is our history to just disappear because there's no one there to help them. So, it made me feel very, very proud that we were able to do that. We visited 3 other farms that day as well, and Mr. Mitchell hadn't been on the property, and he got the phone call from his sister to say, "You can come home."
Oh, wow.
See that people
that is extraordinary that he was able to. Yeah. You're doing another run. Last night on 2GB, you talked about this next run that you're going to do. You're going to take more water out to farmers that need it. And last night on 2GB, you said that you were fairly disappointed with most politicians who've been involved in this, bar one. Tell me what's happened.
Yeah, so last night I spoke to yourself and John, and which was amazing to be able to have the opportunity to get this out there and just let everyone know what's going on. But I, at the end of it, I think I took over the program there, Jane, and put the call out to Pauline Hanson. I stand alongside Pauline Hanson on most of what she has to say, and she is definitely the person that is always had the backs of the Aussie farmers and the battlers out there. So I put the call out to Pauline, if she was listening to the program last night, to get in contact with me if she could, and we opened the door to one of our trucks for her to come on the convoy with us.
And what she said?
Well, I received a phone call late last night from one of her members of One Nation, Colin Ticknell, and he got in contact with Pauline and got the phone call this afternoon from Pauline herself, and she's going to join us. So we're going to have Pauline Hanson in one of our trucks when we take our convoy out next Saturday on the 26th, which is just amazing to be able to have her, being that she has been right there beside every single farmer out there, to have her come out and see these people and see the land herself. It's more than what most of them, would do.
It is indeed. Before I let you go, how much water are you and Pauline Hanson taking out, and where exactly are you going to on the 26th, and what are you taking?
We are taking 196,000 litres, and we are delivering that to an organisation called Granite Belt Drought Assist. Now, these guys have been going since April, doing hampers for the farmers and the people that are struggling out in the area. They've taken on board and started doing the water just a couple of months back, and the need was there and people were asking, and they're there every day, and they've helped over 1,000 people out there so far. So we are delivering it to them, and it's going to be wonderful to be able to go out there and meet the people that need this water, and to see how they're going, and just make sure that if there's anything we can do, we'll definitely do that for them. And we probably won't give up here, as much as it's been huge. It's a massive effort, and it's not just me. I've got a lot of people to thank for this. We've had a lot of people come on board, individuals and companies alike have come on board to help us with this, and we've fundraised. We've raised just over $11,000, which is
amazing,
mind-blowing. It's amazing.
Rachel, just so I know you want to thank everyone, that they're all on your Facebook page. How can people find you on Facebook?
Definitely.
They can donate, they can see who's helping you out. What's your Facebook?
Our Facebook is Let's Send Them a Truckload Water Convoy. You can find us on Facebook, and all the information's there, how you can donate, cash donations. So whatever we don't use towards this convoy here will be directly given to Granite Belt Drought Assist. Glenda and her team out there are doing a phenomenal job getting this necessity, this essential need to the everyday people. Glenda told me a story, I'll just quickly run through it this afternoon, about a young a single father out there at the moment, and because they've got no water, he's had to use some bore water, and unfortunately one of his boys has eczema and suffers really bad with eczema, and because of this the water that's out there and the quality of the water that they're accessing is really poor. They come in and seen Glenda and the crew at Granite Belt Drought Assist a couple of days ago, and just to get some clean water, because the effects on them, are horrible, absolutely horrible. So these guys are doing great things out there, and donating to us donates to them, and we're working very closely with Granite Belt Drought Assist.
Rachel Eddy, thank you so much for joining us tonight on the front page. More power to your arm.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to spread the word. And if there's an organisation out there that people want to get behind, there's plenty of them out there, and it's not just the Granite Belt. There are so many areas that need assistance. So go out there, visit these towns. They need people to visit the towns, and spend your money in the local areas, and really support the communities while they're struggling. They might not look as pretty as what they do when they're in their full flourish, but get out there and visit them, and go and thank a farmer. Go and thank them and say, we're there for you, and do what you can. It means the absolute world to them. So thank you, Jane. Thanks for having us.